And I remember the Pixie Kitchen from years back. My husband and I, square danced in the very late 70s, early 80s. I'm not sure if it was before kids or after kids, but I remember when our square dance team kind of finished up for the season, we had a Christmas gathering at Pixie Kitchen in Lincoln City when it was open. And you know, you went in, you sat down in their banquet room down, you had a heck of a view of town, and you saw the little pixies along the wall, and they had the little choo-choo train out in the garden area. It was really terrific. But one of my favorite memories is probably in the 70s, because I don't believe Jim and I were married yet. His sister, his older sister by 1 year, Jan, worked at the gas station out at Pixieland. And he always thought it was so funny to go down and make his sister fill his tank up with gas. It was kind of like torture to have the sister wait on him. And then one of the things that always enthralled me was the grouping of, you went down the boardwalk to the different businesses, and they had a print shop. And I don't remember if it had a name or if it was just called the Pixieland Print Shop. And you walked in and they would take your picture, and they had a format. They would put your picture on the front page of the newspaper, and then it had some story that it had on the front page, and there your picture could be on the front page of that newspaper. And you know, I worked at the News Guard for 25 years, and I've always wondered if that had anything to do with it. I remember the log flume. The log flume was great, and I still hear the train whistle because my son drives a log truck that has a train whistle on it, and so every once in a while you hear him go through town and toot toot his horn. I think Pixieland was just before its grand time, unfortunately. Wouldn't it be great now to have something like that for all of our folks coming into town to, you know, enjoy the outdoors and enjoy the old features? And it's an amazing celebration. And I am a Kiwanian here in Lincoln City, and I'm so proud to be a part of that celebration. It takes a lot to put something like Pixie Fest on in 2017, but I hope it will, you know, be something that continues. And everyone out there with a story, I'll encourage them to come into our local historical museum and see Ann Hall and just tell their story. Pixie Kitchen, you never left hungry, and their prices were very reasonable. And the food choices were good old coastal fare. And Pixieland, you can almost still hear the laughter when you go through there, although it's changed in the years to the beautiful wetlands that it is. But you just, you know, if you lived here in that time, you can just almost hear the train whistle and the laughter of the kids, because it really was, it was our own Disneyland right here in Lincoln City. So, a beautiful time, and I've been really thrilled with being able to watch some of the videos that are going out there, and the history, and what a wonderful man brought this to us. And as I said, I think it was just maybe a little before his time. And I don't remember what gas was at that gas station at that time, but it was probably somewhere between 23 and 25 cents a gallon. That tells you how long ago it was. And it was in the late 70s that we used to go, well, mid 70s, because I graduated high school in 73. So, and I think it was before we graduated that we used to go out and just walk through the grounds. They had rides, they had games, they had, if I remember correctly, they might have had some sort of a candy shop, and I'm not sure if it was the taffy shop that was there. I remember there being a candy shop, and you could stop in, but it was kind of like that little old-fashioned country town that you see in the old movies, the boardwalk, and you just walked from one shop to the next. But for some reason, it was always the newspaper that I remembered the most. Having your picture taken, having the front page done, and you walked out. I'll have to go through all my collectibles at home and see if I can find that, because I very seldom throw anything away. Well, if I can remember correctly, it was as you pulled off of Highway 101, the gas station was kind of the first thing there. And then behind it was Disneyland itself. And then over, I'm sorry, not Disneyland, Pixieland itself. And then over a little bit to the east side was the row of shops and how you got into the rest of the park. But if I remember correctly, if I remember correctly, there were at least 2 pumps, and there might have been 4. I'll have to ask the hubby and see if he can tell me that too. But yep, he used to say, we're going to go get gas and we're going to make my sister wait on us. He thought that was the greatest thing.
For him at least.
Yeah. I almost forgot this little tidbit to add. We went camping last weekend in Garibaldi, and we were talking about Pixie Fest to some friends that had come into camp. And my friend Diane Erickson Lyda, her father-in-law was the head of Wainema Christian Church Camp at Wainema, just the other side of Nesquin. And Diane and I were talking, and Diane says, well, I have photos of the slide. And I said, oh, really? Oh, really, the slide? And she said, well, yeah, you know, the slide that was at Wainema for years was bought from when Pixieland was shutting down. And I said, I hadn't even put 2 and 2 together. So she said, yeah, I've got pictures. So I sent pictures to Ed so that he could reproduce them for one of the kiosks or something. And he just told me this morning on the telephone that they'd almost thought about getting a slide, or they'd thought about getting a slide, and one of the choices was really close to the original Pixieland slide. So there will be pictures there of the slide that was at Wainema after Pixieland for years. And I asked Diane, well, you know, I remember looking over the cliff there and it's not there anymore. And she said, no, they had it so long that it rusted and it started to become dangerous, and they tore it down, and they sold it for scrap. So from all the fun that it gave their campers to the fact that hauling it off in scrap gave them a little bit of funds to put back to the church camp, was really a terrific turnaround. So there you go.
All this repurposing.